My background was in banking, and if we consider that hundreds of years ago, tea was used as trade for currency, maybe thousands of years ago, more than hundreds, but anyway, as I finished up a 29-year career in banking, I decided I wanted to get into business for myself. What type of business would it be? As I did my research, I uncovered that there was nothing like a tea merchant in this area, let alone central Pennsylvania, anywhere, that you can get a large variety of loose leaf tea. When I did my research, it was at the library, it was on the internet, but then I also had the opportunity to attend the World Tea Expo in the year of 2004 when I started this. At the World Tea Expo, there were hundreds of tea shop owners, and there were a few potential tea shop owners like I was at that time 3 years ago. And you get to attend several days of seminars, and you get to meet all the vendors that sell the tea and the teapots. So by attending the World Tea Expo, it also gave me kind of that little shot in the arm that I needed to say, yes, this is the right area to get into now, because tea consumption in the United States specifically is growing at a trend of about 10% a year. Maybe coffee has leveled off. Coffee sales are still very strong, but tea sales are growing at a much more rapid pace than coffee sales in the U.S. So I thought, why not get into the tea business? And the name Tea Merchant 101 was also my picking. This is not a franchise. It's only one location in Pennsylvania. As I probably did a list of names, probably had 50 or 100 names on a sheet of paper, to all different possibilities of what I could call this business. And then just by process of elimination and kind of a focus group in a way, but it wasn't a focus group, it was mostly family, that I decided on the name Tea Merchant 101. After the name was incorporated, that had a lot to do with education about tea, because again, loose leaf tea is not that well known. Everyone's used to using tea bags, and so I knew we had to have an education about tea, thus the 101.
Okay.
101.
One, like you learned in education.
College class 101.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's very good.
And then it all kind of fell into place after that, because coincidentally this is suite number 101 that I'm renting in this building. And there are over 101 flavors and varieties of teas that I have available for the customers.
Wonderful.
So I keep playing on that 101 concept. The logo, then, I found a graphic artist in State College that came up with several designs of a logo for me, and by process of elimination, once again, thinking back of how tea was traded over the years and how it was transported over the years, the ship part of the logo and then the Tea Merchant 101 kind of all fell into place. That was the winning logo that I got for my business.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, when we're trying to determine the flavor of tea, you first of all have to go through the steps of saying, should it be caffeine-free or decaf? Once you know if you want decaf in your case, then we can say, all right, we have green teas and black teas that are decaffeinated. Or you can try something new that is red tea. Red tea is not officially a tea because it's not grown on the same plant as a black tea and a green tea. Now the red teas are grown in South Africa. They're naturally caffeine-free, never had caffeine in them, and they're full of antioxidants. Now the other name for red tea is red bush tea or rooibos. R-O-O-I-B-O-S, but it's pronounced rooibos. Now then some of these red teas are flavored, like this one's a marzipan. It's an intense almond flavor tea. It's a red tea that's naturally caffeine-free. The organic red is the original red unflavored. So that's the rooibos, where it comes from South Africa. But then some of the other flavors are like gingerbread orange. This one's called ambrosia, which is vanilla mango. and trace bits of almond. And then the one that you're selecting today that I'm going to make for you is an Earl Grey red tea. Loose leaf tea is a finer quality of tea than tea bags. Americans are most familiar with tea bags, but loose leaf tea, like a fine wine, you're getting a better grade and a better quality of tea. Now in this case, we're going to make the rooibos Earl Grey flavored tea for you, and we're going to do that as a hot tea. So and I'm going to use this kind of unique little apparatus called an Ingenuity to make your tea for you. This has a permanent filter in the bottom of it, and this is kind of a Lexan type material, so it is microwavable for people that are into doing microwave. Now for this size container, which is at least 16 ounces, I want to use, notice I'm using teaspoons, I'm not using a measuring spoon. That's probably how they got their name T-E-A spoon. I just use about two teaspoons of tea in that because it's 16 ounces. And then we're going to use this hot water over here to infuse the tea. And I'll just dispense some of that right on.
Is there a certain temperature that the water needs to be at, or it just?
Yes, there is. And with a red tea like this, which is considered an herbal, the rooibos, because it comes from a different plant, that can be a boiling temperature of about 212 degrees, so that's okay. If you're doing a black tea, that can also be the 212 boiling temperature. But if you're doing a green tea or a white tea, it's important to keep the temperature closer to about 180 or 185. You don't have to be a scientist and have a thermometer. I mean, some homes do have their own thermometers, but the best way to do that is to boil the water and let it sit for 5 minutes to cool off before you pour the water onto a white tea or a green tea. And in essence, if your water was too hot for a green tea or white tea, you're cooking it more than it needs to be cooked, and that can affect the taste of it. So if you've ever had a green tea that you didn't like the taste of, it might have been bitter or strong, maybe that's because the water temperature was wrong. My own business after working 29 years in the corporate world, having a lot of decisions made by corporations, and I had a very good banking career, so this is not to be considered a negative, but it's to be considered a positive that now I made the decision after 29 years to start something new, and I'm having a lot of fun at it.
It looks like it. It looks like it. Okay.
Now this will be ready, and this Ingenuity, you notice, has let your Earl Grey red tea steep for a good 5 minutes. And what's nice about this is, and we just put this over a cup of any kind, and as you put it on the cup, the permanent filter releases the tea liquid down into the cup, but it's trapping all the tea leaves in the permanent filter up above. And then as I lifted it, it stopped pouring so that you'll have enough here for your second cup of tea.